Natembeya apunguze kelele ya siasa, atumie hiyo airtime kusimama mbele ya microphone, asaidie watu wa Trans Nzoia kufanya kazi for the 5 years alipewa.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we get back to speaking about the happenings or the outcome of the by-elections that happened today, there is something that has actually happened, and it will play a very critical role in how the united opposition pans out in the 2027 general election, or how they're going to actually decide on power sharing and who is actually going to take the day as either the presidential candidate or the running mate in the 2027 general election. In the past, we have been having a conversation, and that conversation has been revolving on the possibility of either a Kalonzo Natembeya ticket or a Kalonzo Matiang'I ticket. But today, after the by-elections that were held in the country, the trajectory has changed. Why am I saying this? Most of these leaders in the united opposition were so confident that they were going to actually take it home in the by-election. Allowing me to speak about the by-election in Mbeere North, Rigathi Gachagwa's influence in the Mount Kenya region was meant to play a very key and critical role in ensuring that the DP candidate for the united opposition secures the win as the next Mbeere North Member of Parliament. But to our surprise, things tilted towards the favor of government's candidate, that is Leonard Mudende, who has actually won with a very small margin in the said by-election, beating Newton Karish with about 400 votes. Now, apart from the Mbeere North by-election, the other by-election that we were closely monitoring, because it is also a very key determinant of how the united opposition is going to decide on its way forward in deciding on how they will get into sharing power in the 2027 general election, is the Malava by-election in Kakamega County. We have all had conversation revolving around the possibility of one candidate from the DAPK party, Seth Panyako, winning the said by-election. But to our surprise, as we speak right now, the candidate for the United Democratic Republic Party, for the UDA party, the ruling party, has actually taken the win. Now that actually changes the trajectory of how the united opposition is going to sit back on the negotiation table and draft its agreement moving forward. The reason I'm saying this, yes, we agree that Kalonzo Musyoka should remain as the flag bearer of the united opposition, because Kalonzo Musyoka did not have a by-election, by-election happening in his area, in his stronghold. The by-elections that happened in Kalonzo Musyoka's stronghold, those were of the ward level, and Kalonzo Musyoka has secured most of them. So Kalonzo Musyoka remains to be the presidential flag bearer for the united opposition. But now the ball falls into the courtyard of the determining who will actually become Kalonzo's running mate. When we speak about George Natembeya, Natembeya's influence will start being questioned. The reason I'm saying this is because Natembeya's key candidate in this by-election was Seth Panyako in the Malava by-election. But George Natembeya's candidate was today beaten in this by-election, where the candidate of the government actually won it. So which tells us something, that it's high time we actually reason or go back to the drawing board. Is Natembeya that influential in the western part of Kenya? Does he actually have the influence that we thought he had? Because if he had that influence, then the people should have listened to him and vote for his candidate, Seth Panyako, in this by-election. But they have not done so. Instead, they have gone ahead to vote for a candidate that was brought to them as a project by one Farouk Kibet. So this takes us back to the drawing board. How will Natembeya negotiate? Will he say still he is the kingpin of the Mulembe nation? Because if he is the kingpin of the Mulembe nation, then he would have delivered a win for the Malava by-election. But he didn't deliver that. Getting back to Rigathi Gachagua, we all know Rigathi Gachagua won't settle for anything else. Rigathi Gachagua's role is becoming the kingmaker. So Rigathi Gachagua has proven beyond reasonable doubt that his support will fall behind Kalonzo Musyoka. So combining the support of Kalonzo Musyoka and that of Rigathi Gachagua, actually Kalonzo Musyoka won't be beaten in becoming the presidential flag bearer for the United Opposition. So even if Gachagua has lost the Beira North by-election, he has not lost on the negotiation table. All they have to do is now to craft another plan on how they will proceed with their politics. But getting back to Natembeya, when you look in Nyamira, where by-elections were also being conducted, and Kisii, one Fred Matiang'I, actually the people of Nyamira refused to be associated with the government. The people of Kisii refused to be associated with the government. So they voted for the candidates that are affiliated with Fred Matiang'I. So Fred Matiang'I, though the by-elections in his area were revolving around the level of MCA, but he has actually secured them all. So if Matiang'I comes, he will say that you people have been fronting an Natembeya Kalonzo ticket, but you have seen that Natembeya is facing a lot of rejection from his own people, because he is fighting with people like Akina Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula. So it's high time you rethink on this, because for me, there is nobody in my courtyard from Kisii or Nyamira who is opposing me. So definitely I will bring those votes. So for me, what I have to do is to try and actually garner support from other areas, putting aside my stronghold, that is the Nyamira and Kisii counties. Are we together? That is how Fred Matiang'I will come into the table. And now they will play the card of actually trying to look at the possibility of a Matiang'I Kalonzo ticket, putting aside George Natembeya, because Natembeya seems to be losing it in his region. If the people of Mulembe Nation actually believed in Natembeya, today they would have delivered a win through Seth Panyako to Natembeya. And that win would have actually meant so much to making sure that Natembeya secures his position as the running mate of Kalonzo Musyoka in the 2027 general election. But they didn't do that. Now that actually portrays they don't believe in George Natembeya as we thought they did. So let's now play with Fred Matiang'I. That is how I'm telling you, the dynamics of how the United Opposition is going to play its politics is going to change completely. And soon they are going to have to unveil their presidential flag bearer and their running mate. And I actually bet the cards have tilted. They have moved from Natembeya to Fred Matiang'I. Are we together? So, because Fred Matiang'I, even behind Fred Matiang'I, are very strong financial muscles. That is including the former president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. So, this actually secures a concrete position for Matiang'I within the United Opposition as its running mate. Natembeya will have to settle for something else. If he can't settle for something else, he has to fight so much to actually go back to his drawing board to draft a new plan on how he will influence his region and convince the united opposition that is worth it. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to hear your take in regards to this. Leave a comment on the comment section. See you in our next video. This is the Kenyan Daily Report.